Do you, yes you, the person watching this video, do you need a sprinting system for your Roblox game? If so, then this is the video for you. If you do not want to learn how to code, then I will put this script in the description of this video, but I strongly recommend that you stay just so you have the experience to continue developing your Roblox game. Without further ado, let's get into this tutorial. Alright, so the first thing that we are going to do is we're going to come over to the Explorer here, go into Starter Player, and set our character scripts. We are going to make a local script. Now you can call this whatever you want, really. I'm just going to call mine Sprint System because that makes sense to me. That's what we're going to be making. The first thing we're going to need is we're going to need the user input service, right? Next, we're going to need the player. After that, we're going to get a variable for the character. Then we're going to need a variable for the humanoid. All right, so once you have these variables written down in your script, you're going to want to add an animation inside of your local script, right? You can call this whatever you want as well. I'm just going to call mine Sprint. And of course, you're also going to need an animation. I'm just going to grab one from the toolbox because I am lazy. But if you want to make your own, you can. All right, so once you got the animation that you want to use, you're going to want to right click on it, right? You're going to want to click save/export and then save to Roblox, right? You can title this really whatever you want. Doesn't matter. Creator. Like if you're making a game under a group, you're going to want to put this under a group. But if you're just making a game for you, you can just leave it as me, yourself, you know? Then you want to click on save and it'll upload to Roblox. So it'll handle that for you. And then what you're going to need, this is very important. You're going to want to click on this little like thing right here next to the ID to copy it. Now you can close out of that. You can delete the animation if you want to. Go back to the animation thing and paste in the animation ID that we just copied. This is incredibly important or else your animation will not play. Now we're going to go back inside the script and get a variable for the animation. All right, next we're just going to make a few more variables. So make sure you add these two variables, and I'm going to add this one as well, which is optional, but I will later in the video, I will show you why I will be adding this, and I'll give you a few options for what you want in your game, which may not make sense right now, but you will see. Don't worry. All right, so a sprinting system is pretty simple, right? All we have to really do is we just have to detect when like a player presses shift, which is really easy. We can use the input began function from user input service to detect whenever a player basically presses a button or does anything, right? We can also get these two variables from this function, right? We're gonna add this line of code, which basically what this line of code does is it just makes sure that if they click like a button while chatting, then we ignore it basically. So if they're chatting, if they're typing in chat and they press something and we want to detect that, it won't like detect when they're chatting. If that makes sense, you know? Just add it. It's an important line of code that we need. Next, we're gonna detect when they actually like press shift, right? All right, once you got that, we're gonna set sprinting equal to true. And we're gonna say if speed is less than 0, then sprint anim play. And then we're gonna set their walk speed to 32. You can set this really to whatever you want. I'm just setting it to 32 because I think that's fast enough, you know? All right, next thing we're gonna add is input ended to detect when they let go of the shift key. Of course, don't forget to add this line to make sure that when they're chatting, nothing happens. Then we'll detect if the button that they are letting go of is shift. Then once they let go of shift, we're just gonna set sprinting to false. We will stop the sprint animation, and then we will set the walk speed back to normal. All right, next you're gonna add this line of code up here. What this line of code will do is it will fire every single time the humanoids, like the speed that we are running at changes. So say we stop moving while we are still holding down the shift key, right? The running animation would still be playing, and we do not want that. We want the running animation to stop playing when we stop moving. So that's why we were adding this, kind of as like a little bit of a check, just to make sure. So make sure you add in this if statement right here, which basically this checks that if we're holding down the shift key and the sprint animation is not playing, and like the speed is greater than 10 and like we are moving, do we want the sprint animation to play? Also inside this if statement, you're gonna add an else if. And what this else if is gonna check is it is gonna check that if we're not sprinting or our speed is less than 10, basically we're not moving and the sprint animation is playing, do we want it to stop? All right, so this code will work, but let's test it right now and I'll show you what will happen. So obviously this is regular, and then the sprinting will work, right? If we stop moving, we let go, we do this, everything's gonna work, right? But the one problem with it is if we jump while we're sprinting, the sprint animation still plays. And we do not want that. So we're going to add in a little bit more code, and this is where this option will come into play. You'll see. So we're going to add in this function right here, humanoid.state changed. We're going to connect that to a function to see the old state and the new state. What this function will like detect, it gets fired every single time the humanoid's state changes, right? So whenever we walk, whenever we're falling, whenever we jump, whenever we're swimming, whenever we're standing still, anything, whenever that changes, this gets fired and we get to see. All right, so what we want to do is with this is we want to check if the humanoid state is going to be equal to jumping. So whenever we jump, we're going to stop the sprint animation. We're also going to check if we are free falling. So whenever we fall, then we're also going to stop the sprint animation. All right. So now if we test this, we will see whenever we jump while sprinting, now the regular jump animation will play, and when we land, the sprint animation will play, and everything works. Now for the other option that I was talking about. If anyone watching this video has ever played Ink games, then you know how their running system works. Whenever you jump, the jump animation doesn't play, but the sprint animation like kind of slows down. It looks really cool. I'll show a video of it on screen. You guys are seeing what I'm trying to explain not very well. So we're gonna make that. So if you want that, then we're gonna get rid of these two lines of code right here. We're going to add in a few new ones. So what these new lines of code are going to be is we're gonna check if the animation speed is equal to 1, then we're going to set the animation speed to 0.2. Then we're also going to update this variable to be the new sprint animation speed. All right, so once you have these few lines of code, what we can do is we can just copy this and paste this in right there. And now we just need a few more lines of code, then we'll be done. So now we're going to write in an else, and basically what this is whenever we're not jumping or falling, then we're just gonna set the speed back to normal, and we're gonna update this variable once again. And now this is our new code. And if we test it out, we will see that whenever we jump, it slows down just like in Ink game. Thank you so much to everyone who's made it to the end of the video. I truly appreciate it, honestly. I will put this code in the description, as I said in the beginning of the video, just in case you want to, save it or whatever. But that's going to do it for this tutorial. I really hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.